Did we just witness the worst bull market in Bitcoin's history? That's a very important question that we're going to try and answer today. What is going on in the macro? What is influencing this big price drop in Bitcoin? Altcoins are getting absolutely destroyed. There is a silver lining. This is going to sound very crazy, but times like this, it is the easiest to make money in cryptocurrency. I'll explain to you exactly how on today's live show. We're going to take a look at the markets. What are the most undervalued projects? What are the markets overreacting to the most? And which ones will run hardest when things change? We'll talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the Don't Panic cryptocurrency content, where we take old, boring, and stale information, repackage that thing up in a fun, sexy way.
You know, even your Ola had some volatility today.
Did it? Yeah. Man, you know, it's been a rough one this morning. You know what? I hate being right sometimes.
Yeah?
I absolutely...
What part were you right about?
Oh, man, you know, sometimes I have a vision of the future, and sometimes I open my mouth and it comes true, and I'm like, damn it, $1,800 Ethereum is here. It is real. I didn't think it was going to quite get there. I said, hey, I'm waiting for the $1,800 Ethereum.
That's your big pat on the back.
Also, if you're watching last week, I said, hey, good time to enter into Solana's when it gets close to $100, and you said, I don't see it getting under 120. Well, newsflash, under 120.
When did I say it's
You
not
said that.
getting,
You said that last week.
Said.
You said it.
I said, if you
it.
want the best price, 120 is. You want me to pull up the chart and show you what I had on?
Let me tell you, the better price is not 120. It's 117 where Solana's
Oh, sorry.
sitting at.
$3 off. My bad.
Yeah, so...
LB Crypto said, this is the new COVID bottom opportunity of your lifetime. I agree, man. I think the markets are over. I mean, if there was a more powerful word than overreacting, I would use it. Is there?
No, I don't know if it's overreacting. I think it's just a direct correlation to the stock market. What's happening in U.S. economy is what we're seeing, right? You have the S&P 500 down almost 3%. The NASDAQ is getting absolutely crushed. This is the biggest pullback I've seen in the NASDAQ in recent memories. You have the NASDAQ down 4.38%, almost down 5%. Been watching this number steadily go up as we've been preparing for the show. About an hour ago, it was under 4%. Well, maybe an hour from now, it'll be over 5%. Who knows? So it's not going in the right direction. We've washed away all the gains that have been made since September of last year on NASDAQ. Why am I showing you the NASDAQ? Well, it's the one that's correlated the most with crypto, particularly Bitcoin. And so as long as this number stays red and keeps dropping, there's really not much narrative that's going to pull Bitcoin out. Now, this is in regards to short-term price action, right? We know over the long term, Bitcoin has outperformed the NASDAQ. We know over the long term, you get compounding returns, upwards of about 200% annualized, generally over Bitcoin, which is far greater than NASDAQ. But when the NASDAQ sells off like this, so does Bitcoin. And so we're going to keep a close eye on the NASDAQ. Curious if Donald Trump, obviously a lot of this has to do with Donald Trump's tariffs, spooking the market. And we know the man has an ego. He's also vying for the midterms, which is about 18 months away. And with the midterms, you know he wants to get as many Republican seats in the House.
It's definitely the way to do it. Direct the markets, huh?
I mean, I'm sure he wasn't expecting this hard of a sell-off. There's no way, right?
Well, a lot of people are thinking that the tariffs are going to cause inflation, which they very well might. Tariffs, if they stay and there's no adjustments to income tax or to give people more money to offset the rising costs, then sure, yeah, it'll be inflationary. But according to Trueflation, it's actually dropping down. I want to highlight a really funny comment I saw in the chat. It was from, damn it. Okay, I'll find it later, but it was, oh, there we go. It was from Nui Brunst. Said, Ashley, I hope you like broke dudes because we all just lost out wives and girlfriends on Bitcoin and we are getting desperate. You know what, man? It's honestly like,
It's better to start from the bottom and then grow with your partner.
yeah.
So, you know, it's
Anyways,
don't need to find somebody money right away, you know, just encourage them to make money.
Yeah, through the best of times, through the worst of times. You know, honestly, when you take a step back, this is you want like making money in a bull market is hard. Making money in a bear market is easy. And when I'm talking about long-term money, I'm not talking about trading, I'm not talking about scalping. I'm talking about when you're in the midst of a bull market and you want to continue investing, it is so hard to try to figure out what is towards the top, what's going to run next, what's undervalued, what's overvalued, right? As projects are getting to new highs, you see blue sky breakouts. No one knows. Everyone's FOMOing in. Everything's going up. You're bound to make more mistakes. Versus
portfolio growth is very hard in the bull market. Portfolio growth is extremely hard.
Sarcastic?
No, I'm being for real. Like portfolio, like you wanna accrue assets during a bear market. You want when prices are low. However, I feel like the best time to trade is in the bull market, right? You have a general trend where it's up and to the right, and you know there's gonna be massive pullback.
You can say the same thing about bear markets too, right?
No, bear markets are boring. Snooze fest, man.
No, it's not.
How long
That
did
thing
we
drop so fast? I'm talking about trading.
Yeah, maybe in
The worst time to
2 month
trade
drop.
is the worst time to trade is when we bought them and then we just grind.
That's what I mean in the bear market. That's the bear market, right?
Anyways.
Not the sell off, but
It is so easy to go down the top 100 market cap list right now as prices are down and figure out what's undervalued. You can literally open up CoinMarketCap and just go like this. Okay, Bitcoin, undervalued, strategic reserve, other countries. Texas just passed. We have Utah that is looking to amend theirs. More states to come. Great. Ethereum, $1,900, market cap of $233 billion. You have the president's company actively buying. You have BlackRock actively working with Ethereum. Oh, XRP, it's at $2, a market cap of $120 billion. It's doing X, Y, and Z. Solana, wow, okay, Fire Dancer's coming. They have stablecoin. They have RWA narrative. It's retail. Okay, great. That's undervalued at $118. You can literally go down the list. You can look at Chainlink. Wow, the one project that is going to power almost all the infrastructure of TradFi when they come into Web3, that's only at an $8 billion market cap. So you get the point. It's very easy on days like this or market conditions like this to figure out which ones are overvalued and put your money there. The harder part is to do that during a bull run, during the depths, the peak of a bull market. You don't want your money sitting on the sideline. You want to continue allocating. You got to figure out what is undervalued. And it's so hard to do that when prices are in blue sky breakouts versus when prices are at bottom of the barrel. So that's kind of my thought, my thesis. Take a look at some liquidations. We have 288 million over the last 4 hours got liquidated, with ETH leading the way. Typically, this is Bitcoin liquidations lead the way, but ETH getting absolutely crushed. Then you have Bitcoin at number 2, and then outside of the others, Solana at almost 10 million in liquidations. Obviously, you don't need me to tell you. A majority of these were longs, and so longs are getting crushed. Rob mentioned macro. Here's some interesting stuff here. Well, first of all, as he mentioned, the stock market, Dow Jones is currently down 2%. Now, I know that number, 2%, 4%, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. But, my friends, imagine if Bitcoin was at, what's 44 trillion market cap for Bitcoin? It's at what? Let's just say it's at 2 times 22. So let's say Bitcoin's at $2.2 million and it has a 2% pullback. That is a big pullback. When you talk about a $44 trillion asset class like the S&P 500, 2.7% isn't just $1,000 or, Bitcoin went down 2,500. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. In the NASDAQ, in the S&P, in the Dow Jones, the VIX is shooting up. VIX is up 18% today. And so lots of volatility in the markets.
And then I just wanted to just to say that like these pullbacks during a bull market, I see a lot of people in the chat. I know who was that? Matt is in here saying like, oh hey, you guys were telling us to buy 2 weeks ago. Now undervalued. They called us a clown. It's funny because these pullbacks happen every freaking time. Doesn't mean you stop buying. Like if you don't want to buy crypto, then get the hell out. Nobody wants you in here anyways. And so what I say to you is look at Ethereum. All right, so this is in 2020. It went from $280, dropped down to $120, and so you look shortly thereafter. Ethereum up to about 500, down to 340, and this is over the span of a couple weeks. And then look what happened afterwards, right? I mean, right after that, you shot up to $3,000, $4,000. And you can go down the list of altcoins that this happens every cycle. It happened in 2017, happened in 2020. It's going to happen again in 2025. It's not anything new here. And so, you know what? If your project has no space or has no utility or no community, then sure, okay, cool, I get it. Well, why, you missed out on the top. These are all going to bounce back. So these are opportunities to buy. So, I encourage you, hey, if you think that Ethereum will never get over $2,000, then hey, don't buy it. Cool. And you know what? I bought plenty of altcoins a couple weeks ago. I got no problem holding through that. Now, could I time the quote unquote pull the bottom maybe a little bit better? Sure, but no, you know what? We're not going to be able to do that, right? It's unrealistic. And you can always look in hindsight and be like, damn it, I should have bought now. I don't care. You know what? I'm a big Avalanche bull. I bought it at $30. Bought a lot at $30. Am I going to panic sell? Am I worried? No, that's fine. I'll just hold it for another 3 or 4 months and bounce back. Will come. And you know what? I'll be in the green by the end of the year. I'm not worried about it, right? And so I just encourage you to hey, if you're here to make money, if you just over here point fingers and laugh and don't do anything when the bear market, when there's a bear market or when prices drop, you're going to miss out. And if you only want to tune in and buy stuff when the markets are rallying, then hey, you're going to be exit liquidity. Congratulations. Because I'll tell you what, the U.S. is going to be buying Bitcoin for their strategic reserve. Other countries are going to follow suit. There's only going to be so much to go around. And at some point, it's going to cause a supply shock. It's not anything new. This isn't some weird, crazy theory. It just happens every 4 years. There's just not enough Bitcoin to go around and price goes up. Very simple. And so that will happen again. This is not a bear market. I don't think it is. Even if it is a long period of consolidation, we'll bounce back. And especially by the end of the year, I'm not even worried about. Will this take weeks, perhaps months to rebound? Perhaps.
Look at this as a Black Friday sale.
Yeah, honestly, this is time to make money, man. You know what? I don't know. I see all over Twitter and then the chats and on other channels, people over here freaking out, and I'm just dude, it's time to make money, man. You know what? You want to go? Time to make money, guys.
Where are we going?
I don't know where we're going. I was going to make an analogy and spending too much money on buying women purses and stuff, but
I thought you were going to say buying.
But then I realized I don't buy girls' purses, so it's not really a good analogy.
You need a girl first to buy her purse.
Anyways,
some more stuff on macro. Dan Tapiero says, macro, just in all caps. Unfortunately, this is clear. Layoffs have never spiked to this degree outside of recessions. Fourth largest spike in 25 years and more coming. Uncertainty causing more severe slowdown than anticipated. 4% short rate can drop a lot to buffer. Liquidity spigot coming. I agree with him there. And then this was interesting. Robin, this was from October 28th of last year, okay? This is before Trump got into office. If Trump succeeds in forcing through mass deportations, combined with Elon hacking away at the government, firing people, and reducing the deficit, there will be an initial severe overreaction in the economy. This economy propped up with debt and artificially suppressed wages, markets will tumble, but when the storm passes and everyone realizes we are on sounder footing, there will be a rapid recovery to a healthier, sustainable economy. History could be made in the coming 2 years. If you remember, Paul Volcker did something similar when he came in the 80s. We had rampant inflation. We got up to 9%. It started to come back down. Then we had another rally, and inflation got up to almost 20%. Paul Volcker came in, and he jacked up the interest rate so high, it crashed the economy. He was getting pressured by the president. He was getting pressured by lawmakers. He stuck to it. And after 2 years, we had the biggest bounce back. And in the 90s, it was one of the best decades for the entire U.S. economy and stock market. If you guys remember, when Bill Clinton left office in 99, 2000, we actually had a budget surplus. It was the first time that ever happened. And then the same people that were clowning on Paul Volcker or telling, wanting him to resign, 2 years later, they came out and apologized and said he was right in doing what he does. And so we knew GDP was going to slow down, or at least if you're watching our show, you would have listened to me. I would have told you GDP is going down. Part of GDP is government spending, and well, government is spending less. The unemployment rate, if you're cutting 40% of public sector employment, obviously unemployment rate's going to spike. But the good news on the back end is this is going to force the Fed to cut rates. The reverse repo is already screwed. The liquidity is not there. And so what are they going to be left with? And so I think I agree with Fisher King. It's just interesting. This was about a week and a half before Trump even got into office. But what are your thoughts on this here, Rob? Do you agree with what Mr. Fisher King says here? So far, what he said has been true.
I think this is an overreaction in the broader markets, and as we came in to this as well, you know what, the crypto markets are dependent on what happens here on the national stage with the stock market, and so we're expecting the stock market to reverse. At least I am. Here's the thing. You mentioned 2 years. You know what? Donald Trump doesn't have that much time. And honestly, midterms coming around in less than 2 years. They're going to start campaigning sometime in early 2026, January, February, March. So just a little bit around a year from now, we're going to start seeing campaign ads for the midterms. And so we got to have a strong economy going into that. Otherwise, there's little chance in holding the Republican domination. So don't have 2 years. Donald Trump doesn't even have 4 years in office. He's got 3 years and change now, right? So if he had 10 years, if he was newly elected, or he had 8 years, 2 terms in office, but that would be a different story. But he doesn't. So he has a narrowing time window. So at some point, he's got to let off the gas on the tariff thing. At some point, the markets are going to stop freaking out. At some point, we're going to rebound. And I think that Donald Trump will reverse his stance on tariffs. Because I think realistically, that's really the only thing that's spooking the markets, right? The AI is booming. The development in the AI sector is about as good as you could want, right? You have the quantum chips coming out as well. And so tech is leading the race. The U.S. is leading the race in tech. And so, it's exactly that. It's an overreaction. I think it's very short term, and so I think we get a bounce back with it.
I think there's a massive overreaction.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
The bounce back is going to be.
I'm just curious on how long this market reaction is going to last.
I think Q2 is going to be the best quarter of the year. I really do.
Yeah.
We'll see. Q2 or Q4. Q3, people go away, vacation with families, yada yada yada. I'll tell you what though. I went to dinner on Friday. With a guy I befriended through the restaurant I was working at. And he runs a wealth management firm, and they've been expanding. And he was in Vegas. He invited me out for drinks. And all he wanted to talk about was Bitcoin and crypto. And he said, look, he's like, what are your thoughts on the market? We kind of talked and gave him my thoughts. And he was like, we've been talking about this being a great time to get in for our clients into like a Bitcoin ETF. He said, as long as you don't think this thing's going away. I was like, absolutely not. With everything going on. So there's talks happening. Now, the average retail person who's maybe not as sold on crypto, which is fine, they might not believe that the bounce back is going to be massive and an enormous amount of money is going to flow in. But the smartest people, the people that run multi-billion-dollar companies, these guys are chomping at the bits to get their clients in at an asset that was trading at over $100,000 just 3-4 weeks ago at a 30% discount. They are chomping at the bits. And so just keep that in mind, right? Don't watch what they say, watch what they do. And yeah. And then this as well, a couple of announcements here from the Trump team. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said there's going to be a detox period for the economy. And Donald Trump also said a transition period for the economy is likely. And he adds, you can't really watch the stock market. Funny, Mr. Trump, because from what I understand, all you do is watch the stock market. Thought that was kind of funny. So are you in the camp of if when macro reverses, that's when Bitcoin reverses, and up until then, no headline, no news?
I would say this: if for some reason we were in a recession or bear market in the stock market, then Bitcoin will still break out. I just think it's going to take a little while, and so even in my worst case scenario, just because of post-halving, the U.S. being a buyer in the tune of 1 million Bitcoin, other nations following, doing the same, private companies, investors, all being able to take a position on Bitcoin, price is going to steadily rise. Now, if S&P 500 and NASDAQ don't bounce back, and say we are going to a quote-unquote a recession, maybe Donald Trump just stays hard line on that tariffs, doesn't care about the economy. I don't think this is a situation. And the economy just stays flat and keeps selling off or doesn't make new all-time highs for the rest of the year. If that were to happen, then we'd get steady growth out of Bitcoin. I don't think we'll get the explosive growth that we would see in the typical bull market, but we would still get steady growth. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Robin,
so
what does the Fed
explosive growth is going to come.
Robin, what does the Fed usually do when the economy's in a recession, Robin?
They do lower interest rates. I do think that's coming. I mean, Jerome Powell's already said he's going to lower interest rates, so it's not anything that I don't think that the Fed is going to overreact at this point. Now, here's the thing: if the stock market keeps crashing, at some point it puts some pressure on the banking system and corporate America. And we know what happens when companies start to fail, banks start to fail. The biggest names in on Wall Street start to go under. We know that the Fed comes in and bails them out. And I don't see any reason this wouldn't happen again if we got in that situation. And so that situation, we would have, the Fed stepping in and dramatically cutting rates. I think right now we're probably still set to, was it 2 rate cuts by the end of the year, right? Is that what we were forecasting?
2 to 3, yeah. Total of 100 basis points.
Yeah.
So 1%. The next one is on March 18th, which is a week from Wednesday. And so by that time, Jerome Powell did speak on Friday, and I put out an overview of the week earlier last week to our Patreon members. So hopefully you guys were prepared for the volatility, because I did mention that in the post. And then Bitcoin, just checking the price, $78,325. You take a look at the flows. This was from last week. 756 million flowed out of Bitcoin. But who had the highest inflows? It was Solana at $16.4 million flowing in. Second highest was XRP at 5.6 million. And then you know what, though? There is one thing to keep in mind. People aren't talking about this, Robin. There's a wild card at play here. What is Donald Trump's all about? Making money, right? He's a businessman. If he gets a call from his son who runs World Liberty Finance and says, Dad, we're down 110 million on our investments. Can you just put out a tweet or something? Can you say you're going to put the government on Ethereum? Say something.
But a tweet can't even help at this point, right? Yeah. I know it's a joke, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, you had Donald Trump saying like, hey, we're going to create a strategic reserve. We're buying, we're going to throw ADA in there and XRP and Solana, and markets rallied for 48 hours.
Not even.
Yeah.
No. It rallied for like 4 and then gave it all back.
So I don't know. I think at this point, it's really dependent on Bitcoin's price, right? And so what is going to make Bitcoin's price go up? And I think that there's just too many macro factors in play. We could spook the markets temporarily with a tweet from a powerful individual. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Very interesting. What's also interesting is that you guys still have money to give us super chats. We appreciate it. Shout out to CritCats, $5 super chat, said, why are the markets so spooked about the tariffs? He said he was going to do it before he got elected. It wasn't a secret. To me, it makes 0 sense. Yeah, the one thing I was surprised at for this cycle was I expected the markets to be more comfortable with who Trump is and not overreact, because I do think this is an overreaction. Not overreact to what he's been doing and saying, but I guess I was wrong there. And then Grid414 with a $5 super chat said, used to be hair, past 3 years taught me Emmy to be a turtle. Taught me to be a turtle. Okay, I see what he's saying. Just slow and steady wins the race, right? So thank you all for your support. And then I do want to go to this, to lighten up the mood a little bit. Did you know, so Watcher Guru posted and said, President Trump to announce 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, to which someone reposted a chart of ETH and said, is ETH made of aluminum? And then Robin, did you know, to prepare for his role as the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix had to hold Ethereum for 3 years. Did you know this? Specifically for the scene. And then we also had this Bitcoin halving every 4 years. My portfolio has a halving every week. Very true, very true. Yeah, down huge.
People are freaking out. I did want to give a little love to the chat. If you are new here, say something. I will love to give you a little shout out. We got Lucky Thoughts, Crypto Hands, Matt, Dean, Stymie, Towers Roofing, Vincent, Jordan, Luis, username. To all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Yeah. All right. One interesting post here from Mr. Bailey, David Bailey, that is. If the Department of Justice has been liquidating America's Bitcoin with haste in defiance of the president ever since getting court approval to do so 3 months ago, then Bitcoin's price action makes perfect sense. What do you think about that?
It's all on chain. That hasn't happened.
That was interesting. And then we have this as well. Spain's second largest bank, BBVA, receives approval to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. Again, you have the largest banks, the largest companies. We had the letter from the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller, pretty much giving banks the green light to custody, issue stable coins, be part of the crypto economy, banks. And so don't be surprised over the next 6 months if you start seeing integrations within your bank's mobile app, services, whatever you want to call it, of some sort of crypto or Bitcoin integration. That is happening. And again, it is happening at essentially, potentially the bottom, Bitcoin 78,265. And then I do want to show this video from Ondo Finance. This was from their Ondo, their summit, their forget what the name of the summit was. Maybe it was just Ondo Summit. Either way, here we go.
But first, we have one more thing. See, as we began fleshing out the design of Ondo Global Markets and spent time with institutional partners, we realized that today's public blockchains just didn't have the features and capabilities necessary to truly make this vision a reality. To name a few examples, liquidity fragmentation across various chains, high-risk cross-chain bridging, volatile transaction fees, volatile network and protocol security, and regulatory and compliance concerns with front-running and unknown transaction validators. Historically, some of these issues have been addressed through the use of permission blockchains. However, it is precisely the closed-off nature of these networks that nullifies what we see as one of the most compelling promises of blockchain technology: an open, global, and transparent financial system. Over the past year, we've been working hard with various partners to develop infrastructure to address these challenges while preserving openness. Today, we're excited to finally announce our new Layer 1 blockchain designed specifically for bringing financial markets on-chain. We call it Ondo Chain. Ondo Chain will be a hybrid public permission chain, combining the openness of public blockchains with the compliance and security features of permission chains.
So you look at a project like Ondo, okay, currently sitting at, where are you, Ondo? Currently sitting at number 35 at 79.1 cents. We go to the Ondo chart. See if I still have my value area for Ondo here. We do. So this rectangle here, this is a value area that I identified for Ondo, and we currently are trading within that price area, which is between 56.1 cents and 82 cents. We are currently trading within there. Anytime we come into this area, Ondo has a big rally. We essentially had a double bottom. This was back on this is back in September of 2024. From the lower end of our box here to the top end, Ondo rallied 52%. And then the more recent one, the big rally you see here, from again, 58 cents, it rallied essentially a 4x, a 3.5 to 4x. And that is where Ondo is currently. And so Ondo is one project that I am looking at accumulating more of. What are your thoughts on Ondo at current prices? Do you think it is one of the most undervalued projects in crypto right now?
I mean, it's a winner for this bull market. So if, you're looking for an entry point, I mean, this is about as good as it gets. I mean, I think you can kind of go across the board on your alts, right? We've been talking about Ondo for quite some time. We were pushing the Ondo narrative. Last time it was in this the value channel here, and yet here we are again. And so, recommend this should be part of your portfolio, it's part of mine, along with others. And so for me, I like to fill the gap on what I am lacking on my portfolio or what I want more position on. Well, for me is gaming and real world asset tokenization. So these are two big sectors. So if my position is not strong enough on Ondo, I mean, it's about as good as the time to get in, right? I mean, same thing with Ethereum. I mean, I've told you before, I think that $1,800 Ethereum is a steal. I wouldn't bet the house on Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin over the long term, but when it comes to this year returns, percentage gains, I think $1,800 Ethereum is a massive steal. And so I'd say if you don't have a position on Ondo, it's real sexy right now. I mean, the same. You go down the list too. I mean, Caspa is on a massive discount right now. I mean, Caspa Near Protocol is getting hammered. I mean, Caspa's at 5 cents. Near Protocol at $2. I think the one that got hit the hardest, and it's Avalanche. I think that's something I've been keeping an eye on. Out of the top 20, this is something that's, you look at it. You look at the all-time chart. Prior to this last pump, it was at $26. During the bear market, it was around $10, and so it's at 16 right now. So if you're a believer in Avalanche, you don't have a position on that. That's always a good move. That's something I have a lot of faith in. You can go down. XRP is back at $2, and so is that the best value? I don't think so. I think you can get some other projects a little bit more discount. But if you don't have any XRP and you've been wanting to get it, this is probably the last chance you'll get XRP in or around $2. So if that's a hole in your portfolio, then I mean that's pretty good. And then also Stellar Lumens is also a really good play as well. When you take a look at the all-time chart,
It's held up well.
What's up?
I'm sure you'll go to this. It's Hedera. You don't got to go to it now, but
Hedera has been performing
over
the
20
best
cents.
the best out of the
Oh, it was
altcoins
over
here.
20 cents.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at Hedera on the 1 year. I mean, look at that. It still is performing very well, right? It still is. It went from a position of sub 10 cents, got even down to sub 5 cents. This is just at the end of last year, and is up over 20 cents for the majority of this pullback. Currently under 20 cents. So this might be something. Hey, you get a position on. I would be a little cautious on Hedera though, just because I feel like because it hasn't sold off quite as hard as the other alts, maybe there's more tumble to come. But if you don't, like I said, if you don't have a position, this might be a great time to enter in right now. Also,
Chainlink under $13.
yeah. Yeah, it's rough out there. You know, the one thing that's hold up well, it's surprisingly, let's see, the gainers is SHIB and Pepe. Very interesting.
Well, here's the thing.
They did bleed off quite a lot,
They
but
got-
SHIB is only down 10%. So when you look at what's down the least on the week, you know, on the last 7 days, you go down and you know you got some memes down here as well, and so yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So you're talking about stellar lumens. I kind of interjected with Hedera. What are your thoughts on stellar lumens?
Oh, I think you should have Stellar and XRP in some percentage, right? If you don't want to have one or the other, you're kind of sold on XRP or you're sold on Stellar. You know, Stellar had a lot of time to make partnerships during the XRP Ripple lawsuit, and so they made a lot of ground, right? They have the number one position when it comes to RWAs, or at least they did the last time I checked. And you know, both kind of have the same thesis or same kind of ideology, is to move money globally through banks, businesses, and individuals. And so I think that's something you should have some exposure to. The same way I think you should have Bitcoin. I think you should have whatever's trending on the layer ones, Solana, Cardano, ETH, whatever you're a fan of. And then from there, you should have some XRP or Stellar, and then RWAs, then gaming. I think those are the big winners. If you like DPEN, that's on you. Maybe DeFi as well. I think AAVE is a pretty good pickup for a portfolio, and Chainlink as well for interoperability.
See BitTensor's at $219.
Yeah, that thing is down massive on the week.
30% on the week.
Yep.
On the month, 36%. So this thing at its peak was at 472, and on the 1 year, it got to as high as $708. And so I am still uber bullish on BitTensor. It's seen over 15% growth in its subnet. You've had 10 additional subnets join since the DTAO integration, essentially allowing TAO stakers of the TAO token, to not just stake to the alpha chain or the root chain, but to alpha chains, meaning their subnets. And so that ecosystem is growing, although price might not show it. But again, these are the times you want to look at entering or opening positions on projects. Another one that I put in, this was part of one of my Patreon write-ups, was Athena, and that is actually up on the week. It is up 6% on the week at 40 cents. Athena was getting hammered over the last month, got to as low as 33 cents. I was able to bring my cost basis down from around 65 cents down to around 48 cents, close to 50 cents. And so I'm still a big bull on Athena. I'm a big bull on Asymmetry Finance, which again is backed by Fidelity. And I think, again, stable coins and that ecosystem is going to be massive. MakerDAO, Convex, Curve DAO, and again, Athena, Asymmetry Finance, there's a few other ones. And so once the market conditions turn, I believe these are going to be the ones to really start to rally massively. And then you look at this. This is interesting. So this is the RSI heat map over the last 1 week, and you can see what's oversold and overbought. One that stood out to me was Akash Network. Has been massively oversold on the 1 week. And you take a look at the chart. And Akash Network is officially in my value area here. And that is between 73.6 cents and $1.11. It's currently sitting at $1.07. And again, you look at historically, what does Akash do when it dips into these regions? It has massive rallies. It actually had this really nice cup and handle pattern that broke out on its way to over $7. What are your thoughts on Akash Network? It's in an area that I've personally identified as being undervalued. The RSI on the daily, on the weekly has been oversold. Are you a buyer of Akash here, Rob?
I don't know, dude. I'll be honest with you. Nvidia's down 30%. and Nvidia's not going anywhere. So, I would say to you, like, hey, AI is not dead. AI is not going anywhere. It's just, my question is how long is AI going to be down? I think it's as long as Nvidia is going to be down. In my personal opinion, Nvidia is the leader for compute on AI. And the reality is Nvidia is down 30% and BitTensor and Akasha down 30%, right? On the week. Now, so you ask yourself, like, when is that going to bounce back? I think tariffs hit the hardest on compute because most of the hardware is built overseas, right? And there's more than a computer chip, right? You got the silicone, you have all the other circuitry and components that are involved. You have all the LAN cables to set together the servers or to tie this all together. The mainframes, you have the steel buildings that you have to build the warehouses for this. And so to build infrastructure for AI, this is all coming from, or majority of it's coming from international and overseas. And so you're going to put 25% tariffs across the board, particularly in China, where a lot of this manufacturing happens. And well, we know there's no tariffs on products coming from Taiwan and TMC, but at the same time, there's lots of products that are dependent that the U.S. uses for these products from China, Mexico, Canada, and so it's I don't know. I did want to give a little love to the chat, though, real quick. We had a few new faces here. You got Arnav, Ashad, Sawib, also Eddie, The Art of Read, Lucho, Roosevelt Taylor, and Maddie C. All of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also had Jordan said, he was saying, Jordan was saying that we should take into account that it's probably not tariffs, and it's that you have the bond auction market. And he referenced Jesse AI. You know what? The bond auction market, it's I'll be honest with you, it's very minute to the macroeconomics. I mean, that's just how the U.S., just to give you the bond market auction, just in quick summary, the U.S. funds its government programs by selling bonds, and this happens routinely. And so the really only time it affects economics is if there's an imbalance on the supply and demand. And the bond market is the bond yields have been pretty consistent, so there hasn't been a giant fluctuation there. And so you can reach and pull and say, hey, the bond market is causing it. It's not what's happening here. What we're seeing is literally cause and effect of tariffs. When half of the products that come into the United States now cost 20% more, it freaks people out. Companies like Target and Walmart and retail-based organizations that have 80-90% of their products coming from overseas, everything just got 25% more expensive. It fucks shit up. That's what we're seeing. It's not a disguise. It's real. You know what? Like we're expanding our studio. We're buying equipment for the studio, and things just went up 30%. Like, hey, I needed this sound panel. I need this material. It comes from China. It's now 30% more expensive. That's me personally seeing it with my own eyes, talking to somebody 2 weeks ago, price just went up. It's the reality. And so if this tiny company here feels the effects of it, big companies that rely on shipments from China, and they can't say, you know what, we're not going to do the sound panels. No. Walmart still got to stock the shelves. They still got to buy the products. So until tariffs are resolved or until the pain just bleeds through and Walmart's like, hey, you know what? We're going to just raise prices 20% to cover the cost. And it is what it is. Either you get to that point or you cut the tariffs out. One or the other. And I don't know which one's going to happen first. Which one do you think is going to happen first?
You cut income tax.
Income tax has to be done by it can't be done by executive order, so that's years down the road. Legislation ain't going to move fast on that.
Not necessarily years, but
well, at least 1 year. And even if they drafted the bill now, by the time it gets to the House and then the Senate and then more than likely it's going to get revised a bunch of times. There's no way. First of all, I don't even believe they cut income tax. In my opinion, the largest source of revenue for United States from taxpayers, income tax, you're going to cut it. I don't believe it. I think that 100% is retail, like, dummy hype. Guys, vote for Trump. He's going to cut. Believe me, I voted for Trump. I'm super bullish. But same time, if you voted for Trump thinking they're going to eliminate income tax, they're not. Sorry. This just not how the world works. You know what? There's a couple things that are guaranteed. You live, you die, you pay taxes. And if you think you're not going to pay taxes to the federal government, don't kid yourself. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But if you tell me that I don't have to pay federal income tax and the only thing I got to pay is my local state tax, cool. But realistically, that ain't going to happen, bro. You actually believe that? You actually believe the United States government says, you know what? We don't want any more taxpayer money? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. No way. And I don't even think the Republicans want it. I think if you put that on the floor and Republicans and Democrats, first of all, every single Democrat will vote against that. But I wouldn't vote for it. How the hell are you going to fund the economy? Tariffs, and then you're just gonna all you're gonna do.
You just say you would vote against cutting income tax?
100%.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Do you? Okay. I would like our country to get out of debt and get in a position where we operate right. We have roads and highways. The highways are paid by the federal government, right? That's where your state tax, your federal income tax goes. Also, you got the Department of Defense. I'd like to have a military. I'd like to have highways. I'd like to have national programs. I'd like to have a secure border. There's a lot of things that I would like to have, and you can't build these things without money. And so, sure, we can tax foreign nations, but to simply think that we will, like, tariffs won't work long term. 25%. Eventually, companies will just go buy elsewhere at some point in time. And you know what? Like, we don't have the young industrial population to build steel and provide all of the goods the U.S. needs. We just don't. Maybe when the baby boomers, maybe back in prior to World War II, when we had the largest boom globally for population, and we had this large swath of land to build stuff and rake in ore and other rare minerals to build out our industrial revolution. Right now, we don't have it. And so we can either let in a bunch of immigrants and then bring in the workforce that way, but we can't build all our own products. And so at the end of the day, we're going to have to import. It's a reality. And so if you're going to keep 25%, eventually that business is going to start moving elsewhere, right? People are going to say, hey, I can either build a company in the U.S. and import my goods there, or I can go build in India, Dubai, Brazil, and in that country, it's cheaper for me to operate. Remember, just because you build it here in the U.S. doesn't mean that it only gets sold in the U.S. So a majority of companies do business internationally, and if you're doing business internationally, why have your headquarters in the U.S. if you're bringing in all of your materials at a 25% tax cut? I don't know.
I can't believe you said you would vote against getting rid of.
I would not. I don't want. I like to pay my taxes, right?
What is wrong with you? Who likes paying taxes? You like giving your money to the government so they can go send it over to
I think they mismanage our tax earnings, but the reality of it is, if you want roads and everything else that you like, how are you supposed to fund?
Keep tariffs, get rid of taxes. Everyone will make more money. Bitcoin is ETH. So the markets are taking a dump right now. This is the 5-minute chart on BTC. Since 15 minutes ago, we went from 78.5 to 77.7. So in 15 minutes, we've dropped $1,000. Ethereum is officially in $1,800 territory, seeing a large 5-minute liquidation candle with a spike in volume. This is ETH down from 1,900 to 1,850 over the last 10 minutes. The markets are bleeding. On the 1 hour, Toncoin down almost 5%. This is on the 1 hour. 1 hour. Celestia down 4%. Optimism down 3.5%. ETH again down 3.5%. ICP has been getting destroyed at $5. ICP is at $5. What is EOS still doing here in the top 100? Interesting. Yeah, I mean, where's the S&P at, by the way? Let's take a look at where the stock market is. I guess I could have pulled it up on TradingView, but oh my God, the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones is down 1,000 points. The NASDAQ is down 4.62%.
S&P 500, that's the big number right there, man. The S&P 500 down 3.25%. That's huge. You know the day the stock market crashed in 2008, the S&P 500 that day was down 6%. Just to put that in perspective, that one day, though, the trigger event, the one that the markets crashed and we just never rebounded and banks started going under, S&P 500 was down 6% that day. And so S&P 500 at 3.25%. The NASDAQ down almost a full 5%. What an ugly day for anybody that has a portfolio. Doesn't matter if you're in crypto or in the stock market or wherever the hell you're at. It's a bad day. It's a bad day for the portfolio.
This is the 5-minute chart on the S&P 500. And if we take a look, I mean, this is on the daily, right? From February 19th till now, we're down almost 10%, which is what we saw here, right here. We saw the same exact thing. This was between July of last year through August. So in about a 2.5 week period, we saw a 10% drawdown in the S&P, and the S&P 500.
Seems like this is a bigger drawdown than that one, though.
No, this one was from top to bottom. This one was 9.5. They're the same. 9.62% back in July of last year, and right now we're at 9.12. So pretty much the same. And so will we reverse and trend back up? If I'm just quickly trying to draw, and I'm going to actually go to the higher time frame here on the S&P. This is what the monthly looks like, by the way, on the S&P 500. And so I'd be looking at 52.47 as a good area of support for the S&P 500. And then if you want to draw some fibs on here from your move back in October of 22, your golden ratio is here, right, at 618, which is 45.52. And I'm not saying it's going to get down there, but you never know. You never know. And so 77.5 is the price of BTC. I want to know how the chat's feeling. You guys are scared? If you're scared, put a 1 in the chat. If you're not scared, put a 2 in the chat. I'm very curious. Also, I do want to give a big congratulations. You know, your portfolio might be down, but there's people in our community that are making money. We gave away $300, so $100 to 3 people on Friday. We gave away another $300 to this user with this number here. $300 in your Buy DeFi spot wallet account for being part of our trading competition. So you had the highest ROI with meeting the 100K trading volume threshold. So congrats to you, my friend. Feel free, use that money, try to 10x it and trade it, or take it out, take your lady or guy friend out to a nice dinner, or you can super chat us and we'll open the club. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But if you haven't joined our trading competition, feel free to do so. It costs you nothing. You're doing what you're already doing anyways. The link is in the description of this video. Seeing a lot of 2s. Not a lot of scaredy cats here. This is good, man.
If you've been in crypto for longer than a year, you know that this is par for the course. Nothing new here. And you know, I'm just more fascinated. I'm just kind of watching the stock market, and I'm just
fascinated, huh?
Yeah, it's fascinating, man, to see how big this thing draws down. I don't have recession fears like I know some other individuals might. But
so where do you think Bitcoin bottoms here, Robin?
And once again, you look at how big of a tumble is NASDAQ. If NASDAQ sells off tomorrow, generally, and when you get a big sell off like this on a Monday on the stock market, you get a bounce back the next day. And so, you still got another 2 hour or hour and a half of trading on the stock market. And so, we see NASDAQ down a full 5% today. That's the direction we're going.
You have
if that happens, I don't know. I think 74,000, something like that, might be something that's on the table. It's funny how Magic was mentioning 70. It was at
76.
76, yeah.
You have some potentially a bullish divergence on the daily for Bitcoin, which is really good. So if we put in this higher low on the RSI, obviously we're going to get a lower low on the Bitcoin price action. If we get the higher low here, and obviously we are getting the lower low here, that'll be a nice setup for a reversal with the bullish divergence on BTC on the daily chart. And so I think the bottom is close, man. I really do. And you guys got to remember, these tumbles we see on the weekend, we would see the S&P and the Dow Jones a lot lower than what it is if it was open 24/7 like Bitcoin is. And so however close the S&P is to a bottom, Bitcoin is 5x closer, in my personal opinion. And so, yeah. That's all I got. Anything else? That's it. All right. Before we sign off, I want to give a big thank you to today's channel sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by CAM's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how CAMs can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. There is a link in the description of this video to their website, or you see it on your screen right now. So big thank you to CAMs, big thank you to all our sponsors, and big thank you to you tuning in and watching. Times might be a little rough, but we'll keep coming at you with the content. I'll be going live tonight at 4:45 p.m. Pacific, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to focus on trading and fundamentals. So come join me. Also, I got a video coming out later today. And so the prices might be down, but our content is up as we are going to be putting out more content. We're also going to be doing some weekend streams as well. Those will be off the cuff. And so I recommend highly that you are subscribed and have your notification bell on, because the weekend ones are going to be fun. I'm going to do some fun stuff with the community on the weekend. So, and then the afternoon video that's coming out in about an hour, the 3 altcoins that I'm buying in 3 different sectors. You're going to have to watch that video to find out which one it is. And with that being said, Rocco, thank you all so much for tuning in. It's a rocky start to the week, but there's still 4 days left. Will we reverse? Who knows? But at the end of the day, we're going to be here giving you guys content and information. Come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.